The carefully constructed empire is cracking wide open, and Christine Brown is watching her reputation disintegrate in real time. After years of positioning herself as the authentic, relatable Brown sister, the one who had the courage to walk away from a toxic marriage and build something real, Christine now finds herself at the center of a grifting controversy that has her most loyal supporters demanding answers. The accusations are piling up faster than her team can manage them, and what started as a few disgruntled fans venting on Reddit has exploded into a full-blown investigation of her business practices. Folks, the woman who became a symbol of empowerment and fresh starts is now being called out as just another reality star cashing in on parasocial relationships, and the receipts keep coming. For those who have followed Sister Wives from the beginning, Christine has always been the fan favorite. She was the funny one, the warm one, the wife who seemed genuinely happy despite the obvious dysfunction of plural marriage. When she finally left Cody in 2021, the audience celebrated like she had escaped a burning building. They bought her cookbooks, they paid for her cameos, they showed up to her meet and greets, and they defended her relentlessly against anyone who dared criticize her choices. But now those same supporters are feeling used, manipulated, and outright scammed. The emotional investment they poured into Christine's journey is curdling into resentment, and the accusations are too numerous to ignore. Sources close to the situation describe the current atmosphere as a complete disaster. One insider put it bluntly, saying she built her entire brand on being the genuine one, and now people are realizing it was all marketing. Another source familiar with the controversy noted that the complaints have been coming in for months, but the team just kept deleting negative comments and blocking anyone who asked questions. Let that sink in for a moment. The woman who won America's heart by being refreshingly honest has allegedly been running a damage control operation to silence critics. The irony here is absolutely staggering. Christine left Cody Brown, a man universally despised for his narcissism and manipulation, only to now face accusations that she has been manipulating her own fan base for profit. The very qualities that made her the sympathetic figure, her relatability, her openness, her seeming authenticity, are now being weaponized against her. Fans are combing through old interviews, old social media posts, old episodes of Sister Wives, looking for signs they missed, and what they are finding is raising serious questions about who Christine Brown really is beneath the carefully curated image. But the allegations swirling online are just the tip of the iceberg, and when you dig into the actual scope of Christine's business empire, the picture becomes far more complicated than anyone initially realized. Christine Brown has been extraordinarily busy since walking away from her plural marriage, and the revenue streams she has assembled would make even the most seasoned influencer jealous. Beyond her TLC salary, which insiders estimate at somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 per season, Christine has built a sprawling empire of side hustles that touch nearly every corner of the reality star monetization playbook. There is her deep involvement with Plexus, the multi-level marketing company that sells weight loss supplements and wellness products. There is her cooking show content, her social media sponsorships, her cameo business where fans pay upwards of $75 for personalized video messages, and her paid meet and greet appearances that command ticket prices some fans describe as obscene. The transformation from plural wife to girl boss entrepreneur happened remarkably fast. Within months of her divorce announcement, Christine was everywhere. She was posting aspirational content about her new life in Utah, sharing cooking tutorials, promoting products, and building a personal brand centered on empowerment and fresh starts. Her fans ate it up. They wanted to see her thrive, wanted proof that leaving a bad situation could lead to something beautiful, and Christine delivered exactly the narrative they craved, complete with a new romance, a new home, and a new outlook on life. But sources now suggest the rebrand was less organic than it appeared. One former supporter, whose comments have been circulating widely on social media, wrote that she spent hundreds of dollars supporting Christine after the divorce because she believed in her story. She continued saying she bought the cookbook that arrived damaged, paid for meet and greet tickets that turned out to be a chaotic mess, and ordered multiple cameos that were clearly rushed and impersonal. The fan concluded by stating that she feels like an absolute fool now. This sentiment is being echoed across Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and Twitter conversations, with longtime fans expressing a profound sense of betrayal. Reports suggest that Christine's team was initially dismissive of the complaints, treating them as the inevitable grumblings of a few unreasonable customers. But the wave has grown too large to ignore. Word on the street is that internal discussions have turned panicked, with advisors warning Christine that her reputation is taking real damage, that sponsorship deals and network relationships may not survive. Let me be brutally honest here. When your own supporters start calling you a grifter, you have a problem that no amount of positive content can fix. The contrast contrast between Christine's public messaging and these private complaints could not be more jarring. On Instagram, she continues posting cheerful updates about her cooking projects and her happy marriage to David Woolley. In her sponsored content, she radiates gratitude and positivity. But behind the filtered photos and carefully worded captions, a very different story is emerging, one that threatens to redefine how audiences view not just Christine, but the entire Sister Wives franchise. But it is one specific pattern of complaints that has truly ignited this firestorm, and the details are more damaging than her team ever anticipated. The accusations did not erupt overnight. They started with a single frustrated fan post that gained traction and snowballed into something unstoppable. According to those who have been tracking the controversy from the beginning, the first major complaint appeared on a Sister Wives fan forum approximately 3 months ago. A woman described paying for a cameo from Christine for her sister's birthday, only to receive a video that was clearly generic, rushed, and contained none of the personal details she had specifically requested. She posted screenshots of her order, the video she received, and her unanswered requests for a refund. Within hours, dozens of other fans emerged with similar stories. The complaints span multiple facets of Christine's business operations, and the consistency is what has observers most concerned. Meet and greet attendees describe events that were disorganized, overcrowded, and nothing like what the promotional materials promised. One attendee claims she paid over $200 for a VIP experience that amounted to less than 30 seconds with Christine and a blurry photo taken by an overwhelmed staffer. Another described being shuffled through like cattle at an auction, with Christine barely making eye contact before moving to the next paying customer. Folks, these are not the experiences people expect when they hand over their hard-earned money. The Plexus controversy adds another layer to the situation. Multi-level marketing companies are already viewed with deep suspicion by much of the public, and Christine's aggressive promotion of these products has long raised eyebrows. Sources claim she has pushed Plexus supplements on followers without adequately disclosing the potential side effects or the financial structure that benefits her personally. One former Plexus customer who purchased products through Christine's links described feeling pressured and manipulated. The commenter wrote that Christine made it seem like these supplements changed her life, but what she really wanted was for people to sign up under her and make her money. The Reddit threads dedicated to this controversy now number in the dozens, with fans creating detailed timelines of complaints, compiling evidence, and comparing notes about their experiences. Let that sink in for a moment. The level of organization among Christine's critics suggests this is not a few isolated incidents, but rather a pattern of behavior that has finally reached critical mass. The phrase grifter appears repeatedly in these discussions, a damning label for someone who built her post-divorce identity on being trustworthy and genuine. Perhaps most damaging are the cookbook complaints that have resurfaced with new intensity. When Christine released her cookbook in 2022, fans reported receiving copies that were damaged, printed incorrectly, or never arrived at all. Customer service responses were allegedly slow and unhelpful, with some buyers never receiving resolution. At the time, these complaints were dismissed as typical shipping issues. Now they are being re-examined as part of a broader pattern of careless business practices that prioritize profit over customer satisfaction. Christine's team eventually responded to the mounting criticism, but their statement only poured gasoline on the fire. Instead of offering a genuine apology or addressing specific complaints, Christine's representatives issued what many fans immediately labeled as corporate gaslighting. The statement, released through her official social media channels, expressed gratitude for her supporters and vaguely acknowledged that any business faces occasional challenges. It emphasized Christine's commitment to her fans and promised that her team was working to ensure positive experiences for everyone. What it conspicuously avoided was any direct acknowledgement of the specific accusations or any concrete steps being taken to address them. The reaction was swift and brutal. Fans who had been waiting for accountability felt slapped in the face. One widely shared response captured the mood perfectly, stating that this is the most non-apology apology in the history of non-apologies, and that Christine learned absolutely nothing from watching Cody spin his way through every controversy for 20 years. Another commenter noted that the statement could have been generated by a bot for all the personality and sincerity it contained. Folks, when your carefully crafted PR response becomes its own controversy, you have fundamentally misread the room. Observers familiar with the Brown family dynamics could not help but draw comparisons to previous disasters. When Mary fell victim to the catfish scandal years ago, she initially deflected and minimized before eventually addressing it more directly. When Cody's behavior became indefensible on camera, his attempts at explanation only made things worse. Now Christine appears to be following the same playbook, the reflexive denial and deflection that has characterized so much of this family's public communications. According to those who watch the Browns closely, the family pattern of avoiding accountability seems hardwired at this point. The silence on specific issues is particularly telling. Christine's team has not addressed the meet and greet complaints directly. They have not explained the cameo quality issues. They have not responded to the MLM concerns. Instead, they have adopted a strategy of deleting negative comments, blocking persistent critics, and pretending the controversy does not exist. Sources familiar with the strategy describe it as pure damage control, just hoping this blows over without having to actually change anything. Let me be brutally honest here. In the age of social media, where receipts are forever and screenshots last longer than marriages, this approach is not just ineffective, it is actively counterproductive. Every deleted comment becomes evidence of attempted suppression. Every blocked critic becomes a martyr with a platform. Every ignored complaint adds fuel to the narrative that Christine does not actually care about the people who supported her. The playbook that might have worked in the pre-internet era is disastrously outdated now. But longtime Sister Wives observers have noticed something else about the timing of all this, and it points to a factor Christine may not want anyone examining too closely. Some fans are directing their suspicions toward a specific target, and his name is David Woolley. Christine's new husband, whom she married in October 2023 after a whirlwind romance, has become a lightning rod for speculation about who is really driving her aggressive monetization strategy. Before David, the theory goes, Christine was content with a comfortable income from TLC and modest side ventures. After David, the business operations ramped up dramatically, and the customer complaints started piling up at an alarming rate. David Woolley is not a television personality by background. He is a businessman, a self-made entrepreneur with experience in real estate and other ventures. Those who have researched his background describe someone who thinks in terms of margins, scaling, and maximizing revenue streams. Sources close to the couple suggest David has taken an increasingly active role in managing Christine's business affairs, applying his entrepreneurial mindset to her celebrity platform. The results, critics argue, have prioritized profit extraction over fan relationships. The theory has gained traction in Sister Wives communities because it offers a way to reconcile the Christine fans thought they knew with the Christine facing grifting accusations today. One popular Reddit post laid it out explicitly, arguing that Christine was never like this before David and that he saw dollar signs when he looked at her following and pushed her to monetize everything. Another commenter speculated that David views Christine's fans as marks rather than supporters, an approach that might work in traditional business but is toxic in the parasocial economy of reality television. Allow me to translate what is really being suggested here. Fans who invested emotionally in Christine's escape from Cody do not want to believe she would exploit them willingly. The David theory provides an out, a way to maintain their affection for Christine while directing anger at a safer target. But whether this theory reflects reality or simply wishful thinking remains unclear. Insiders familiar with the couple's dynamic describe them as partners in every sense, including business decisions, which would mean Christine is fully aware of and complicit in whatever strategies are being employed. What cannot be disputed is how thoroughly their lives have merged since the wedding. Reports suggest David sold his Utah home and the couple invested in property together. Their social media presence increasingly features joint content, with David appearing in Christine's posts and videos regularly. Financially, sources indicate their assets and business operations are now deeply intertwined, making it difficult to separate David's influence from Christine's own choices. But David is not the only one watching this controversy unfold, and the other Brown wives have reacted in ways that speak volumes about the current state of their relationships. Janelle Brown's social media activity this week has fans absolutely convinced she is throwing shade at Christine, and the evidence is compelling enough to fuel 1,000 Reddit threads. In the days since the grifting controversy exploded, Janelle has posted several times about authenticity, about knowing who your real friends are, and about the importance of treating people with respect. None of these posts mention Christine directly, none of them reference the controversy explicitly, but the timing is suspicious enough that fans are reading between the lines with magnifying glasses. The Christine and Janelle alliance was one of the most celebrated developments in recent Sister Wives history. When both women left Cody within months of each other, fans imagined them as co-conspirators, sisters in rebellion against their shared oppressor. They appeared together at events, promoted each other's content, and presented a united front that seemed unbreakable. But insiders have long suggested the relationship was more complicated than it appeared on camera. Sources familiar with their dynamic describe underlying tensions that never fully resolved, particularly around financial disparities that emerged after the divorces. Let me be brutally honest here. Christine's post-divorce trajectory has been dramatically more lucrative than Janelle's. Christine got the cooking show deals, the premium sponsorships, the high-profile media appearances. Janelle has hustled with her own ventures but never achieved achieved the same level of commercial success. Reports suggest this imbalance created friction that both women worked hard to hide publicly. Now, with Christine facing accusations of greed and exploitation, Janelle's silence might be saying everything she cannot say directly. Murray Brown, predictably, has offered no public comment on the controversy. The first wife, whose own reputation was damaged by the catfish scandal years ago, has maintained a careful distance from her former sister wives since leaving the family. Robin Brown, equally predictably, has been completely absent from any discussion of the situation. Her social media remains focused on her own children and her own carefully controlled narrative. The Brown family dysfunction, it seems, extends even to their inability to present any unified response to a crisis affecting one of their own. Word on the street is that private conversations among the wives have been far more revealing than their public silence suggests. One source claims Janelle expressed frustration privately about Christine's business practices months before the controversy went public, feeling that Christine's aggressive monetization was making all of them look bad. Another insider suggests Mary has quietly distanced herself because she recognizes the pattern from her own past mistakes. The sisterhood, such as it was, appears to be fracturing along lines of self-preservation. But the real chaos is happening behind closed doors at TLC headquarters, where executives are facing a nightmare scenario they never anticipated. Network executives are reportedly scrambling to contain a situation that threatens to derail one of their longest-running franchises. Sister Wives has been a reliable performer for TLC for well over a decade, and in recent seasons the show has leaned heavily into Christine's redemption arc as its primary narrative engine. She was the hero of the story, the wife who finally woke up, the woman who chose herself over a dysfunctional family system. Audiences responded enthusiastically and ratings climbed. Now that carefully constructed narrative is collapsing, and the network is left holding a very expensive bag. According to those familiar with network discussions, executives are weighing several uncomfortable options. They could address the controversy directly on camera, allowing Christine to respond to accusations in her own words. This approach carries enormous risk, as it would require Christine to either admit wrongdoing or appear defensive and untrustworthy. They could ignore the controversy entirely, proceeding with planned storylines as if nothing happened. This approach risks alienating fans who feel their concerns are being dismissed. Or they could quietly reduce Christine's role in future seasons, limiting their exposure to her increasingly toxic brand association. Sources describe the mood at TLC as frustrated resignation. One insider claimed executives are furious because they invested heavily in Christine's narrative, and now she is making them look foolish for trusting her. Another source suggested the network is particularly concerned about advertiser reactions, as sponsors pay premium rates for association with family-friendly programming, and allegations of customer exploitation do not fit that profile. The Duggar scandal provides a cautionary precedent that network executives cannot ignore. When Josh Duggar's crimes became public, TLC's delayed and inadequate response damaged the network's reputation significantly. Advertisers fled, viewers organized boycotts, and the franchise became synonymous with hypocrisy. Folks, the network cannot afford another situation where they appear to prioritize revenue over accountability, and Christine's controversy is forcing them to make decisions they never wanted to make. Let that sink in for a moment. A woman who was positioned as the face of empowerment and fresh starts has become a liability that executives discuss in terms of damage control and brand protection. The redemption arc that drove recent seasons has curdled into something far more complicated, and the network is left trying to figure out whether Christine Brown is still an asset or has become a problem that needs solving. Insiders say Christine's next move could determine not just her own future, but the entire show's trajectory moving forward. Critics who have watched reality television long enough recognize what they are seeing, and they are connecting dots that Christine probably wishes would stay unconnected. The current controversy, they argue, is not an isolated incident, but rather the predictable culmination of a pattern that stretches back years. The rushed cookbook release, the chaotic meet and greets, the constant product pushing, the premium pricing for minimal effort. All of it, they suggest, was visible to anyone willing to look beyond the sympathetic divorce narrative. The cookbook situation in particular is being re-examined with fresh eyes. When Christine rushed to release her cooking book shortly after leaving Cody, fans assumed she was simply capitalizing on her moment. Now, observers suggest the hasty production and quality control issues were early warning signs of a business approach that prioritized speed and profit over customer satisfaction. Reports from that era describe buyers receiving damaged copies, incorrect printings, and unfulfilled orders, complaints that sound remarkably similar to the current accusations. The pattern extends to her Cameo business as well. For those unfamiliar with the platform, Cameo allows celebrities to record personalized video messages for paying customers. Christine charges among the highest rates of any Sister Wives cast member, yet complaints about generic, rushed, impersonal videos have circulated for years. Fans who paid premium prices describe receiving messages that barely acknowledge their specific requests, delivered in what appeared to be mass production batches rather than thoughtful individual recordings. Cultural critics have weighed in on the broader phenomenon at play here. One commentator described reality stars like Christine as professional intimacy simulators, people who create the illusion of personal connection to monetize emotional attachments formed through television viewing. The problem, this observer noted, is that the business model depends on maintaining that illusion, and once fans see through it, the backlash is ferocious. Christine, according to this analysis, made the fatal mistake of getting too greedy, too obviously breaking the unspoken contract that keeps parasocial relationships profitable. Allow me to translate what is really happening here. Fans formed genuine emotional connections with Christine through years of watching her life unfold on television. They cried when she struggled, cheered when she left Cody, and celebrated when she found new love. Those emotions were real, even if the relationship was fundamentally one-sided. When those same fans now feel exploited, the betrayal hits differently than ordinary consumer complaints. This is not about a bad product or poor service. This is about feeling deceived by someone they trusted. But as the dust settles on this controversy, one central question remains that could change everything about how this story ends. Christine Brown built her post-divorce identity on being the authentic one, the brown wife who had finally found her voice and was using it to help other women trapped in unhappy situations. That image, carefully cultivated over 3 years of social media posts, interviews, and public appearances, now lies in ruins. The accusations of grifting, whether fully substantiated or partially exaggerated, have permanently altered how a significant portion of her audience views her. The question is not whether damage has been done. The question is whether anything can repair it. The possible outcomes span a wide spectrum. Christine could issue a genuine, specific apology that addresses individual complaints and outlines concrete changes to her business practices. This approach would require admitting fault, something the Brown family has historically resisted, but could potentially salvage relationships with fans willing to forgive. She could double down on denial, treating the controversy as a coordinated attack by haters and jealous critics. This approach would please hardcore supporters but risk alienating everyone else. Or she could gradually fade from public view, reducing her business activities and hoping the controversy dies down without direct confrontation. Sources familiar with Christine's thinking describe her as genuinely shocked by the intensity of the backlash. One insider claimed she does not understand what she did wrong because in her mind, she is just doing what every other reality star does. Another source suggested Christine is frustrated because she feels held to a higher standard than her peers, expected to be perfect because fans projected their hopes onto her. Whether these feelings reflect legitimate grievance or willful blindness is a matter of perspective. The complexity of the situation resists simple conclusions. Is Christine a calculated grifter who deliberately exploited her fan base for profit? Or is she a reality star playing by the unwritten rules of an industry that rewards exactly this kind of monetization? The truth probably lies somewhere between these extremes. Christine is neither the pure-hearted victim she portrayed herself as after leaving Cody, nor the cartoon villain her harshest critics now paint her as. She is a person who found fame through unusual circumstances and made choices, some admirable and some questionable, about how to capitalize on that fame. What remains undeniable is that the Christine Brown brand has suffered damage that no amount of positive content can quickly repair. The woman who symbolized escape and reinvention now symbolizes something more complicated, a reminder that reality television rarely offers the authentic connections it promises. Her fans gave her their money, their attention, and their emotional support. Whether she earned or exploited those gifts is a question that will define her legacy far more than any divorce or remarriage ever could. Do you think Christine owes her fans an apology, or is this just the price of fame in the reality television era? Drop your verdict in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over and the next chapter of this story might be the most revealing yet.